Oh, I need my glasses. Oh. Okay, hey everyone. It's Christmas, which means that I am not my day job. I'm gonna take the shoes off. So that means I have found myself with a little bit of time to crack on with these reads. I've changed the setup a little bit. So I am now running my new camera, which means I can record straight through, assuming my hard drive doesn't fill up on it. We're shooting in 6K, because why not? And I'm running a boom mic as opposed to the condenser mic. And I just did a little audio test. I think it's going to be okay. So I'm hoping that the quality doesn't dip too much. And also I have discovered recently that I need to wear glasses when I'm reading. Otherwise I get really tired. And I noticed in some of the other videos, at the end of the read, my eyes are super droopy and I'm like this. So I think partly that's because I wasn't wearing glasses and I should have been. And so I'm going to be wearing glasses, which is pretty funny because I've never really seen myself on camera wearing glasses before. I think they make my eyes look really big because they're not expensive glasses, so it might be funny. So because I'm running the boom, I don't have the mic in my face, which I kind of prefer. But because I'm not running the condenser, I'm a bit nervous about... Oh, Rex, no. Sorry, his cat's running around. So because I'm not running the condenser mic, I don't know, it might sound a bit different. I don't know, we'll see how we go. I don't have to publish this. Probably will, knowing me. But I put the Christmas tree in the shot because I'm recording this on Christmas Eve. And I think WACOOH, which is what we're reading today, hopefully I've hit focus this time. You never know. I should know. But yeah, so this is a Christmassy book, I think. It's very wintry and stuff like that. So yeah, if you're, I don't know, got nothing better to do on Christmas, here we go, look. Glasses. I got my glasses on. I can't. The camera is like blurry now. I can't even see the lens. So anyway, look. That's enough of me. This is WACOOH. I don't even know what I think this is chapter 3, but the chapter's title is Established Stones. So we are now leaving Quentin's, our hero, Quentin Alzubi. We have left him. He's been told that he is to train a Subsolumer. You're probably all wondering, what's Subsolum? Exactly. So now we are changing perspectives to our other hero in the novel, Katherine. And Katherine is an argonomist, a soil scientist. And she is, I'm doing this all with my glasses on. Getting like nauseous just looking at the camera. She is a argonomist in Subsolum, so she's responsible for maintaining the underground fields. But we're in Subsolum, which are collapsing. So we're gonna get there. But Katherine is a rebel. You know, she knows how bad Subsolum is, and looks like Ed's gonna join us. He's got a little lump on his back because he had a vaccine recently. I'm very nervous. You right, Eddie? Anyway, let's crack on and hopefully this turns out all right. The tally light is on. Pretty sure the audio is recording. Here we go. Another little note. I'm going to do some voice work. I'm going to try out these characters. I did it earlier. It kind of worked, but I don't know if this is going to be good or not. You're right, Eddie. Because Katherine and Tiffany, the other protagonists in this, are female, and like I kind of struggle. I don't really know how you narrate like a female voice, apart from if it's like a little kind of slightly more theatrical, whereas these two are they're not super theatrical characters, so it's kind of harder for me to, I don't know, they're not as easy to get a handle on. So hopefully I'll find them throughout. And then, there's a couple more theatrical characters, like the radio presenter, who I should I'm having a lot of fun doing in a very bad American accent. I don't know why he's American, but I just went there. Anyway, so this is WACOOH chapter, I think it's 3, probably 3. Established Stones, Subsolum. Here we go. Okay. So, Katherine snapped on the radio. Good afternoon, New Haviler. This is New Haviler Wireless Radio. Bark beetle soup is hot. Records are spinning. It's good to be alive. You still listen to that overworlder nonsense, Tiffany said, squeezing through the narrow doorway and into the room. Stay crouched, Katherine said, and close the door behind you. Katherine had gone nearly 6 months without showing a soul, without wanting to. But now she had something to show off. She couldn't help herself. And Tiff will see. She'll know right away. This is it. This is how Subsolum survives. Tiffany glared, outstretched a hand for the radio controls. So this is where you've been hiding. A mouldy and mossy cubbyhole. I guess it's not on anyone's rotor. It's an old storage room, Katherine said, wondering how she would fare if she slapped Tiffany's hand away from the radio controls. Probably not well. Tiffany mashed the radio off, kicked the door shut, and then sat down on an upside down perlite box. If you can convince my father to spend the resources on fixing Subsolum's radio station, Katherine said, I'll happily switch over. She turned the radio back on, but until then, it's New Haviler Wireless. The news is about to start. The radio presenter continued in his relentlessly jovial way. The Resource Council have agreed to deal with Subsolum in an act of cooperation. A Subsolumer is to live and work in New Haviler. Ain't that marvellous? Tiffany snorted. Katherine shushed her. If you spot someone who's symmetrical, who looks like they're made for all of our old and magnificent buildings, well, the radio presenter went on, wave a friendly hello. And if you don't have arms, figure something out. This is New Haviler Wireless Radio, the weave in the cultural fabric. Here's one for the lonely hearts. We're crying, you're crying, let's dance. A love song played from the small speakers. Katherine imagined the song playing as she took her first steps on the surface. I will dance under the sky, look towards the endless horizon, let the breeze run over me, free from the womb. That's going to be me, she said. Tiffany laughed. You're mad, chick. You'd have been told by now. I'm not sure. Tiff wouldn't know. Our cautious president might let someone up there, but you, his daughter, he won't allow it. You're mad to think he'll let you up there. Katherine turned the radio off. The love song gave way to the drone of air recyclers. She tried to look serious and confident. I'm not starting this fight again. You want to see why I brought you down here, or not? Tiffany glanced around the small room. She shrugged. So you've taken plants from the fields? This some argonomist's lair? She was pointing at the neat row of 4 potato plants. Their vivid green leaves bursting up from a blend of perlite granules and New Haviland moss. Katherine shuffled over to the nearest box and took the plant stems. This is my lair, she said, and dug up growth medium until she could pull her harvest free, a single fist-sized potato dangling from the stems. Tiffany shot up from her seat, nearly hitting her head on the ceiling. You grew that in this tiny room? Yes, Katherine could barely hold back her smile. I haven't seen a potato in years. You can thank hydroponics for their return. Katherine gestured at the ramshackle hydroponic loop, grinning, heart thumping. She'll get it, and everyone else will too, even Dad, especially Dad. All this time I thought you'd got a boyfriend. Tiffany leant forward, peering over the tubes, cases, mounds of perlite, lamps, metal buckets, pumps, circuitry, and sensors, until she said, or a girlfriend. You really built all this? An eyebrow raised. Yep. What the Helvetii is that? Tiffany extended a beefy finger, pointing at one of Katherine's optical transducers. That's a sensor which measures the amount of nutrients in the nutrient solution. All in real time, Katherine explained. And Tiffany, she narrowed her eyes. One didn't move as much as the other since her last fight. Real time, she said after staring for a bit, as opposed to fake time. Katherine tried not to laugh, but if the roles were reversed, Tiffany would be cruel enough to laugh. I deserve a laugh. Katherine opened her mouth to say something like, "No, you tit, it means as it happens." But Tiffany crossed her big, sinewy arms and frowned, and the thought remained firmly a thought. "You've shown your dad," Tiffany said, breaking the silence. "Not yet." "Good." "Good? What do you mean, good?" "Don't show it to him, chick." She shook her head, walked a few paces around the cramped, rock-walled room, muttering, "Helvetii, I wish you'd got a girlfriend." Katherine stripped the potato from the rest of the plant and chucked the greens into a compost bin. "This is what Subsolum needs, not more rationing," Katherine explained. I'm adding a couple of these explain things. I don't know if I have to justify that, but like sometimes I feel like it's not clear if I'm talking aloud, if who's talking. So I add bit. I improv. It's my novel. I do what I want. What was I? He's not going to let you up there, Tiffany shrugged. Especially if you want to go and learn how New Havillands grow their food. How do you know? Well, 1, Tiffany said, you're his daughter. Why would he ever risk you? 2, because he's had years to ask New Havila for help. We've had food shortages all this time, and only now does he want to send one of us up there? It doesn't make sense. But 3, my father knows otherwise. Katherine sat down on an old-world carry case and studied the potato's patchy skin. He isn't stupid, she said, but didn't know what else to say. What more could she say? She had no idea why her father was making this sudden shift to send an Argonomist up to New Havila. The pipe workers were on half rations now, and his own health had never been worse, especially these past few months. He was always coughing up his lungs, puking up phlegm into a bucket. She shivered. What Tiffany had said processed, and Katherine asked, "Your father knows what?" Even though they were in a tiny room with the door shut, Tiffany still looked over her shoulder before leaning in towards Katherine. At the last senior pipeworks meeting, my father explained that President Marston refused an escort for the Argonomists going up to New Havila. The pipeworkers offered to carry equipment, provide protection, and even assist in the training, but your dad refused it all. I didn't know that. Because he doesn't trust you. Katherine's body went tight, but she wasn't about to blow up at Tiffany and make everything worse. Not yet, anyway. She stayed level and said, "But that doesn't mean he isn't trying to solve the problem." Tiffany sighed. "The pipe workers don't know what he's up to, but he isn't being honest." She's never liked him. "Once he sees what I've achieved here, he'll have to send me," Katherine said, and then, inwardly, "to trust me." Tiffany shook her head. "He'll take one look at your kit here, sweep his arms and go, 'No, not in my town.' And that'll be the end of it. He'll make you pack it down, worried it'll catch on. He's never going to change." Green mould grew on the sweaty rock walls. After a couple of weeks working on her hydroponic project, on the very bottom level of Subsolum, where the air recyclers didn't work hard enough, Katherine had noticed a tightness in her chest. Even with its rock walls, air filtration, and geothermal water and heat, Subsolum couldn't keep rot from setting in. It's rotting from the inside. She squeezed the potato, threatening to break the skin. He'll listen to me. Tiff doesn't know what she's talking about. She's scared, but won't show it. I'm the only one who's worth sending. Tiffany, like one of the bears from the stories Katherine's mother used to read to Katherine, poured through the other growth cases, searching for more potatoes. "Do you mind? I'll leave you some, but your father's not got plans to redouble the pipe workers' rations, has he? He doesn't understand how essential we are. He'd let us starve if he could. You ever try to crawl through a half-meter water pipe, sweating puddles on an empty stomach?" I've got this one anyway, Katherine said, and waved her potato about. I'm sure one will be enough to inspire him. Why don't you ask him to double your rations tonight? Tonight? At the play? Yeah, give him an earful. Then, when it looked like Tiffany still wasn't following, Katherine added, You are sitting in the box tonight. Not with the way your father's treating us now. If the other pipe workers saw me up there, I'd never live it down. They'll think I'm eating good, she said as she pulled potatoes from their plants. Your dad's sitting up there, Katherine said. Isn't that going to send a message? And it's tradition. Tiffany paused a moment, ran a pearl-like granule between finger and thumb. It's his job as chief pipe worker, to keep the peace. She looked at Katherine. Her slightly swollen eyelid gave her a squint, as if she were trying to stare through her, stare right into my soul. Our fathers differ in one crucial way, Tiffany said. Yours is a traditionalist, unable to change, and mine isn't. She went on stuffing her overalls with potatoes. You need to see them for who they are. Your father's never going to let you up on the surface. He's never going to let you do this either. It's always been soil and earth. As much as I don't like the New Havillands, your father hates them. Realize it and move on. The pipe workers have. Katherine let the aerocycler drone fill her mind for a moment. None of this had gone the way she had thought it would. What was I even expecting? What do you mean the pipe workers have? Katherine said. Tiffany no longer met her eyes. She kept her arms and elbows in and hunched forward slightly, trying to make herself small. 3 distinct lumps bulged out in the front pocket of her overalls. She patted these carefully. The pipe workers aren't afraid of change. We've had to learn to adapt countless times, as aquifers shift, as the rock slips, as pipes burst, as the hydro turbines crack. I still don't understand. If you really want to help your home, Kath, don't bring this science experiment to your father. Bring it to mine. Let the pipe workers control this. They will see you get the resources to save our home and people. A ringing flooded her ears. Katherine, holding tightly onto the potato, couldn't do much more than that. She watched as Tiffany headed for the door. Do you really think that? I would be going against my father. As soon as you show him this, Tiffany said, he'll shut it all down, chick. But to go to the pipe workers with it, I'd be betraying my father. I can't do it. You've already brought it to the pipe workers, Tiffany said, and tapped the insignia over her heart, the wrench crossed by a pipe segment. She opened the door but stood at the threshold. You know, by letting your father shut this down, the real betrayal is to every other Subsolumer. Don't hesitate, Kath. I think you've already made up your mind. Woo! Heating up. Conspiracy. All right. Next scene change. Rex, what? All right. Okay. In her father's office, the long run of floor-to-ceiling windows drew out those cherished childhood memories of hers. Katherine rested her forehead against the glass. I remember, she said, when Mum was too sick to look after me, and I'd come here to sit while you worked. Her father, sitting at his desk, coughed into a fist and then adjusted his glasses. Are you going to sit? Katherine walked the length of the windows, overlooking the dying subterranean fields. Memories filled the patches where the crops had died. I remember, she said, when you could see maize, wheat, potato, carrot, cabbage, and onion growing. I would try and count the yield from here. She pointed down at his carpeted floor, the only carpet in Subsolum. Her father dabbed his mouth with a handkerchief, licked his lips, and made the exact same adjustment to his glasses. Hey, I've got a prop now, it's handy. Kathy, I'm a busy man. Open on his desk was the latest harvest report. Katherine knew it well, having spent the past few months aside from her hydroponics project, on compiling it. As her father looked the report over, his forehead lined deeply. "You work too hard," she said. He grunted, waved a hand at the chair on the other side of his desk. She sat down, the smell of his recently oiled ebony desk hitting her with all its might, the only wooden desk in Subsolum. She buried her hand in her pocket and grasped the potato. Tiffany doesn't know what she's talking about. She's a pipe worker. All she knows is how to crawl through pipes, nothing about politics or growing food. Katherine inhaled, went to speak, but was cut off. "You want to know who I am sending to New Havila," her father said, turning a page in the harvest report. "Rex, can you just chill?" What's the matter with? Oh, it's cat mayhem. I've just cats everywhere. Sorry. Katherine inhaled, went to speak, but was cut off. "You want to know who I'm sending to New Havila," her father said, turning a page in the harvest report. "Not just that, don't you know that there are 8-foot cockroaches, clouds of radon gas, and destitute wanderers up there? Each of those things so deadly, Katherine, so evil." He looked up from the report, the light from his desk lamp catching on his lenses. She dug her fingernails into the potato. And her father went, "There are unbelievers too. They do not await salvation, nor do they want it." He held a stare for a few seconds before breaking into a cough. He coughed so much he had to take his glasses off and wipe the sweat from his forehead. His face contorted and he spat phlegm into the metal bucket he kept beside his desk. "You shouldn't be working, Dad." Hands trembling, her father got his glasses back on his face. "Daniel Marston, take a day off? I don't think it's right. What would your mother say? She'd call me a lazy bag of bones and send me right back here. Your mother only took days off when she couldn't lift an arm. When she needed help to eat, I am fine. It's only a cough. For all his faults, he has a work ethic. He loves his people. He'll understand. Tiffany doesn't. I know I'm right about this. The pipe workers aren't the future." Katherine took the potato out of her pocket and set it on the desk. They both stared at it. He divided glances between her and the potato. She was 6 again, showing him one of her drawings. "Where did you get that?" he said, covering his mouth in anticipation of a cough. "I grew it. It looks healthy." "Hydroponically?" A racking cough came, as if he were battling a demon. He bundled up his handkerchief and coughed into that, sweat gleaming on him now. He rang the handbell on his desk, whipping it as hard as he could. The office door opened and Oliver popped in. He glided across the office, nodded at Katherine, and then said to her father, "President Marston, sir. How may I help?" "Yeah, how may I help?" Her father gestured at the drinks cabinet. Oliver bowed and set about fixing a drink. Their wordless communication bothered her, as if he knew her father better than she did. And soon she found herself saying, "He doesn't need a drink." But Oliver wiped the desk and laid down the gin for her father. "Sir," he said, "is there anything—" "Oh, a potato! It is good to see the crop yields are recovering." Her father shook his head. "Out you go, Oliver." He bowed and made to leave. "Ah, wait. Replace the bucket." Oliver eyed the silver bucket full of her father's spit and mucus and nodded, smiling. "Yes, my president, sir. I would be honoured." He's quite. I don't know. I'm doing a British thing, so it's not quite how I would imagine him, but it's within my capabilities as a voice actor. "Yes." Okay, Oliver. "Yes, my president, sir. I would be honoured." He took the bucket and left. Her father drank down his gin, sucked on his teeth and smacked his lips together. "Hydroponically," he said. "You grew that potato hydroponically. Where did you learn a skill like that?" "A New Haviland book I got from a Muscovaka trader. It came from the Great Library in New Havila." But that wasn't quite the truth. It was her mother's book, and if Dad ever found out that Mum gave it to me, that she made me promise her I'd learn it and never tell him about it, I don't know what would happen. But it would yank open the already growing rift between them. Her father's eyebrows rose as if remembering something. You built a completed loop? She nodded, a little surprised he was familiar with the terminology. What are you using for the growth media? Let me show you. Katherine, no. If you are using your rations to grow plants, I'll have them taken away. You'll go hungry. Katherine's mouth went dry. The more I see him, the more I realise I have no idea who he is. She wanted to say, but Dad, and suddenly caught herself. I'm not a child. And then she finally said, all I want is to replace the porous fill with a hydroponic system. A field! He rapped his knuckles on the desk. I wouldn't risk a field. It doesn't make sense, Dad, she said. These are artificial fields we've created. There isn't so much degradation in the soil now. We can buy the growth media from New Havula, the radiotrophic moss and fungus. They farm it. I think that's why what they use to grow their... Stop it, Katherine. We will never turn away from the soil. But it's dead, Dad. There haven't been any earthworms in it for years. Cultures all come back the same. No fungi, no bacteria, no protozoa, and no nematodes. The soil is barren. Oh, she shouted the last sentence, apparently. He adjusted his glasses and said firmly, I will not be dependent on New Havula. Do you understand? We aren't going to move from the soil. But you had to trade the paraffin to send someone to New Havula to learn hydroponics. Her father hefted shut the harvest report and pushed his chair back. He rose and hobbled towards the plush seat at the centre of his office. Katherine wondered what her mother would think of him now. Sit with me, he said. His knees popped as he sat down on one of the centre chairs. Isn't it magnificent? Pointing at the fields. Whilst the world was busy warring, we sheltered in our home. Katherine crushed her eyes closed and breathed. He'll understand. It'll be painful, but he'll understand. There's no other option. She opened her eyes to see her father gawping out at the fields. The huge lights that shone down from the rocky ceiling were slowly dimming in a mock setting of the sun. Come on, Kathy. He patted the seat next to his. She grabbed the potato and walked over. Are you sure you don't want a drink? I know there is not much left in the common circulation. There is whiskey and gin and even beer, real beer, here. Not that mushroom stuff. I'll call Oliver. No, I don't want a drink. Stop it. She sat down, crossed her legs, and shook her head. You know what I want. He smiled, said, yes. The breath raspy and weak and smelling strongly of gin. Finally, he looked up at her to say, you have all the best parts of your mother. You know this. I don't want your flattery, but all your worst parts. They come from me. He tapped his chest. Oh my God, I guessed he was saying that. Right, that's well done, Harrison. And I know them well. Listen, will you? Sit and listen a moment, please, Kathy. Will you do that? Do that for me. She nodded, biting her tongue. New Havula is a dangerous place for a Subsolumer, but I shouldn't have to tell you this. When she was speaking with her father, there seemed to be a law of physics that stated that the probability of bringing up Mum's death increased exponentially with conversation length. But all she had to do was fight it, ignore it. The New Havulans, her father said, are hardened, more or less, to those dangers. Though the world up there, it does get everyone eventually, except the immortal man. That's New Havulan folktale. It isn't, Kathy. The Subsolumers and their starships, the New Havulans and their immortal man. Why can't we just save ourselves? I will not deny that we are desperate, her father said, but New Havula has its own problems, you see. And this is our time to shift the power balance, to create more equal societies. Then let me replace a field, Katherine said. And we can No, Katherine, no, you aren't listening to me. We will never turn from the soil. New Havila would have far too much control over us. New Havila would have my days. New Havila would have far too much control over us. Her hands balled into fists. She wanted to shout and scream at him. She wanted to make him understand. Tiffany isn't right. I know my own father better than she does. I'm not going to betray him and go to the pipe workers. I am sending someone to New Havila, her father said, because the power balances are changing there. Yes, an Argonomist will train in hydroponics, but it's political. The leading hydroponicist in New Havila may have a way for us to restore the soil, but it isn't a new method of growing. Then what is it? Katherine said. Her father stared at her. A way to fix our soil, Katherine. To get Subsolumers off of the rations. Talking to him made her doubt her own sanity. Had they gone around in circles? But what is it? A technology? A fucking fertilizer? See, alright, just a little note on the cuss words and the swearing. I use Icelandic. In Subsolum, they use Icelandic swear words. So it's like Helveti, which means shit. Oh no, I can't remember if it's shit. I can't remember. I think Helveti is like hell or damn. And then fucking is like fucking. But when I say that, it sounds like I'm a Scouser, you know? So I just sound like I'm saying fucking in like in a Scouse accent. So fucking fertilizer. So I might just say fucking fertilizer. I don't know, that made me giggle. Anywho, but what is it? A technology of fucking fertilizer? I'm not at liberty to say. You're the president. You can take whatever liability... that's a typo in my manuscript. Ooh. You can take whatever liberty you like. If it were only so, Katherine. At length she said, and you won't send me? He squeezed her thigh. No, Kathy. It is too dangerous. You'll be chased down by giant roaches or left irradiated on the mountain. I'm still a child in his mind. Then who art Ken Wu? Did I hear right? Ken Wu? She gritted her teeth to stop herself from shouting. She imagined explaining this to Tiffany. If my father, the smart, kind and caring man that he is, who can see any threat even beyond the horizon, thinks Ken Wu is best, then Ken Wu is best, and Tiffany will say to me, Ken Wu, the man who destroyed a field. Katherine's head dropped. He may have made mistakes in the past, her father said, but that was because he had just lost his wife and daughter. He wants to atone. She shook her father's hand off her leg. Kathy, he said, I don't understand. She looked up at him, at his misty glasses, his red face. What can Ken do that I can't? Follow orders. She ignored it. She wasn't about to let him bait her into overreacting. What do you need the hydroponicist for? You aren't going to save the soil by employing a hydroponicist. I can't tell you that, her father said. Why not? This is the end of the conversation, Katherine. You have fields to attend to, and I have gin to drink, she interrupted. She rose, holding back everything that was trying its hardest to burst out from her, and stepped towards the door. I'm getting to the bottom of this. Out, he said, pointing at the door. You're going to destroy our home, father. Alright, wow, okay, boom. I love, I gotta be my own hype man for my scenes. You like it, don't you, Eddie? Oh, Daddy, I wish I could understand what you were saying. I'm going crazy in front of a camera. Like, this is alright, next scene. There's more Icelandic coming up, and my pronunciation of this is probably not right. Any Icelandic people out there, correct me. I will try and I was going to prep for this and do a bit of rehearsing for this, but I think, I don't know, what it means is starship play, I believe. So yeah, next scene. So Katherine's just stormed out of her father's office. Alright. Despite the half rations, people were working as hard as ever on the on the Storna Farateki. Storner Farateki play. Alright, Storna Farateki. That's how I'm going to say it from now on. It means starship play. Katherine had to dodge her way through the crowd in the Great Hall. Her father still racing, her heart still racing from the conversation with her father. I don't understand why it has to be so hard. It's all so simple to me. We're starving. We have to change. Huge swells of eager audience members stood in her way. Stagehands rushed about carrying props, set pieces, costumes, lights and cables. There were even people holding out sacks asking for food donations. Asking for food donations for the performers and riggers. She dropped in the hydroponically grown potato, much to a stagehand's surprise. Now again, this means, I believe this is like thanks, so I would pronounce this like pack a pear, but that's probably wrong. I apologise. Pack a pear, the man yelled, eyes wide as could be. Katherine slogged on through the crowd, passing the nearly completed stage. When she was a little girl, the anticipation of the play each year nearly killed her. The endless waiting, the fading memories of last year's play, the food, the dancing, the singing, the laughter. Subsolum felt like one giant family back then, especially when Mum was still alive. I remember her, sort of. Every time I think of her, I get scared the memory will fade more. Oh, get it together, Kath. Those good years grew distant. The play became stale and outdated. The mood shifting from reveling in hope to enduring a struggle. She stuffed her hands into her pockets, kept her head down, and took the ramps to the service level. He isn't going to get the better of me. Late for the Argonymous evening meeting, she opened the door as quietly as she could and nabbed an empty desk at the back, unseen, until Eva, at the podium, said, "Ah, Katherine, you've made it," and the entire room of Argonomists turned their heads to take a look at her. She blushed, nodded and smiled, and said, "Don't stop for me." "Where were we?" Eva said, her thick grey eyebrows low over her eyes. "Yes," she said, her eyebrows shooting up. "Biohazards." Katherine searched the room for Ken Wu. He usually sat at the front, but she couldn't see him. Has he left already? There was a chance Ken had been sent to medical to get shot up with anti-rad drugs. So nauseated he couldn't work. Maybe I'll find him there. Though what she wanted from him, she had no idea. Everyone knew Ken as the guy who screwed up, who destroyed a field. Maybe he thought following her father's orders was his only chance to make things right. The leading hydroponicist is subject to our political interest. That's what her father had said. No matter how she tried to make sense of it, she couldn't. There were so many people better suited for this than Ken Wu. Ken could barely keep up on his rota. Ken fucking Wu. Yes. And then Eva is continuing. That room is still off limits due to radiation contamination and is now to be considered a biohazard. As for crop rotations, oh no, I've used loads of Icelandic names for flowers. Holtasoli, Heaven, Musi, and Lupinia must be worked again already. Those of you who belong to those fields are required for double shifts. You will be given extra rations. There was a collective groan from the room. Katherine's field wasn't on the list because it was one of the better performing ones. At least she could take some pride in that. Some. "Yes," Eva said, "we're all under the thumb, but don't let the time suffocate you. You are Subsoluma Argonomists, 200 years of worn hands and sore knees. We will get through, as we always have." She scanned her notes on the podium. That's about it this evening. After a bit of discourse on the crop rotations and the Stoner Farateki play, Eva ended the meeting and everyone flooded out to their posts for the evening shift. Katherine sat alone in the empty room, breathing steadily and trying to make sense of her father, when she heard the door creak. She looked up and saw Ken Wu stepping into the room. "Oh, sorry," he said. "I thought everyone had gone." "No, She got up, nearly knocking her chair backwards. "What are you after, Ken?" "Peace and quiet," he said, and strolled over to his usual desk at the front of the room and sat down. Katherine went over, noticed he closed his eyes. "What's the matter?" she asked, trying to keep the tension from her voice. "Nothing's the matter," he said. "I'm praying." "Praying?" "Yes." "Praying? Yes, all right," she said. I'll leave you alone." He opened one eye, his good eye, and said, "Be seeing you." His knees were bouncing underneath his desk. She wanted to say to him, "It doesn't matter if you pray, the radiation is indifferent." But instead she stood there, not saying anything. "I will get to the bottom of this," she thought to herself. Annoyed, Ken opened his eyes and said, "Can I help you?" She looked about the room, made sure there was no one in the doorway. "I don't know," she said. "You're going to New Havila." She said it flatly, directly, right to his face, which twisted up in a grimace. No, he muttered. I don't want to talk about that. "I don't understand. Do you want to go?" "Leave me alone," he said. "I want to pray." "Ken," she reached out and took his arm, "I am in a position to make this right. Whatever my father said to you, I need to know it." He pulled his arm free. "There's nothing to say. I have a duty to Subsolum and I can't ignore it." "Do you know anything about hydroponics?" He smiled, shaking his head. "You haven't been told everything then." He shut both his eyes and set his elbows on his desk. "It doesn't matter what I want. I lost everyone's trust a long time ago, and now I've been given a chance to get it back." It was like talking to her father in disguise. "What do you mean by that?" "My duty?" he said, eyes still shut. "No, you smiled and shook your head when I mentioned hydroponics." "Forget it," he said. "Ken, do you want..." He slammed his open palms on the desk. "Sorry, Ed. I said forget it." She stepped back, bumped into a desk. Ken sat hunched over his desk, muttering the Fable's common prayer. "Take us, blessed ones, who took themselves to the stars." "Do you know how large the cockroaches grow up on the surface, Ken?" He stopped the prayer mid-sentence. With a fingernail, he scraped rust from his desk. Eyes still closed, he said, "I told you to forget it." Katherine dragged out a chair and sat down. "This is what Tiff would do. Don't you understand?" She thought this is what Tiff would do, and then she says, "Don't you understand?" And Ken says, "Understand what?" "There's nothing for me to understand." His eyes were open now. His left eye was cloudy and blind and didn't move in its socket. A dead bit of jelly. She looked directly into it. Ken had curled himself like a dying leaf and was trying to keep his blind side from her. But she hunted it down. You want to tell me I've got no choice," he said. "Of course you do," she said. "My father can't force you. What you need to understand is that this is more important than the individual. We need to fix our crop production, but sending someone up there who doesn't want to go is the wrong way to do it." "I'll right all my wrongs," he said, and tried to smile. "Bring back honour to my name." He sat up, but almost immediately curled again. "President Marston was right to choose me." "Do you spend time listening to the Muscovaka traders?" I can't look them in their fake faces, the radheads." "He can't go up there." "You should listen to them," she said. She shuffled the chair forward. The legs screeched against the floor. "They talk about the roaches." She waited for him to see the roach, to imagine it. "Those giant roaches that burrow in the snow." "I know them." His leg bounced harder under the chair. "You can't scare me." "The roaches squirt you with their juices to pre-digest you. The green and yellow juice puffs up your skin. And then, when your skin is soaked through, the juice gets into your bloodstream. Did you know that?" A tremor passed through him. "Once their juice is in your blood, it attacks your nerves and it paralyzes you. Did you know that?" He shook again, clasped his hands until the skin turned bone white. Then, When you can no longer move, they eat you. Feet first. Those chomping mandibles work like machines, mashing blood and bone into pulp. I don't need to hear this. He tried to turn away, but Katherine grabbed his arm. You need to know the risks, she said. Even though you're paralyzed, the Mask of Arcus say, you still feel everything. The hot roach breath on your exposed muscles and guts, sharp teeth stripping away your tendons. You feel it all. She sat back. Ken squirmed, sweated. Why are you telling me this? Why? No, that's a bad read. Why are you telling me this? He said. Because my father didn't tell you everything, Ken. All of his shaking and trembling and squirming reached its apex. He jumped up from his chair, scurried backwards until he knocked over a desk. Get out! I don't want to hear it! He sent you here to torture me, to make me pay. I know I don't have a choice, so don't make me hurt more. I deserve that at least. He's forcing you, she said. You know what he's doing to me. He eyed the door. I'm not letting his daughter torture me too. And he ran. Woo, boy. All right, next scene. After the evening shift, Subsolumers bustled like New Haviland bark beetles before a bunch of dried mushrooms, all in anticipation of the Stojafadteki play starting. The great hall, near to bursting, reverberated, roared. Katherine marvelled at the crowd from her high perch, a box seat raised by scaffold to tower over the commoners. No, the people who need my help. Not the commoners, no, the people who need my help. The stage consisted of thousands and thousands of pipe offcuts, twisted and riveted and welded together. Its towering proscenium, I can never pronounce this, proscenium arch. You know, it's like the big arch at the top of a stage. Twisted and riveted and welded together. Oh, sorry. That is, yeah, I said that bit. The tallest she had seen. It swept across the great hall, a patchwork stage curtain dangling from it. The stage was a symbol. It reminded everyone that their society could still build something. We don't need to starve. If he lets me up to New Havila, I'll learn it all. I'll come back and replace a field and we'll never go hungry. Her father, sitting next to her, snapped his fingers and Oliver appeared, gin in hand. This telling, Einar Laxness said, who had the honour of sitting at her father's right-hand side for the show, will be the greatest in all the 2 centuries. Between sips of gin, her father said, and they told me it would be impossible to put on a performance with the rationing. Katherine snorted. They had food donations set up. That's a very they have food donations set up, Dad. Katherine snorted. They had food donations set up. Yes, Katherine, Einar said. That's what needed to happen. The pipe workers donated much of the food. We even helped rivet the stage frame together. Right, so just little segue here. Einar is Tiffany's father, right? And he should sound like, he is scary dude, right? He's big dude. He's just he is kind of everything that I think Daniel wishes he was in a lot of ways. He's a real he's a big mean guy. And I imagine he would be a big booming kind of, if you were to cast him in the film, because why not? Let's have some fun. I would definitely be a big kind of Norwegian or a big Icelandic dude, like a Viking. He's a Viking. I think I even describe him as such in this. So yeah, it'd be really fun. And I don't know how I would do that voice. So I'm going to play it pretty straight here, but you can imagine, right? I don't know what that laugh is I keep doing. I'm nervous. Sorry. All right, press it on. Yes, Katherine, Einar said. That's what needed to happen. The pipe workers donated much of the food. We even helped rivet the stage frame together. It's a shame your daughter didn't want to join us, Einar, her father said. Einar gripped the handrail running along the top of the box barrier. He nodded at the crowd, saying, Tiffany's happier down there with her people. Her father coughed into the crook of his elbow. Oliver, ready to bound over with handkerchief and bucket. But her father waved him off. "Are her people not up here too?" her father said. A silence between the two men. Einar slowly ran his hand through his knotted beard. He laughed, slapped her father on the thigh. "Daniel, there's 3 of us up here, thousands down there. Tiffany's got her numbers right." Tiffany would sooner go up to the surface, naked, than bow to my father by sitting up here, Katherine said to herself. But maybe if she would spend time listening to him, she would understand him more. As her father lazily drank his gin, she realised, I'm getting a phone call. Sorry. Right. Sorry about that. Well, this cut will probably be quite seamless. Because I had to run an errand. Anyway, where were we? We're back. Let me put my glasses back on. Oh, boys, please. All right. Okay, so I'll just crack on again. Oh, dearie me. I'm very lost. Okay, the stage was a symbol. It reminded everyone that their society could still construct, could still build something. We don't need to starve. If he lets me up to New Havila, I'll learn it all. I'll come back and replace the field and we'll never go hungry. Her father, sitting next to her, snapped his fingers and Oliver appeared, gin in hand. "This telling," Einar Laxness said, who had the honour of sitting... we read all of this, didn't we? Tiffany would sooner go to the surface naked than bow to my father by sitting up here. But maybe if she would spend time listening to him, she would understand him more. As her father lazily drank his gin, she realised she didn't understand him. Is he trying to protect me, or does he think I'm incompetent? Can he fix the soil, or is he a fool? She held her stare, unknown to him, and soon saw the man who raised her after her mother died, the man who kept her society together single-handedly. She wanted to grab the gin glass from him and smash it. She shook, and she wasn't sure why. Subsolum was approaching a precipice, but her father didn't seem worried. The lights dimmed, the stage curtain drew apart, and the crowd below fell quiet. Hushed voices shushed others. Excited whispers of "it's starting" and "hush hush" filled the floor. Einar smiled and clapped like a boy, running counter to his Iron Baron reputation. No matter how many times Katherine had asked Tiffany if the rumours were true, if Einar had cemented a thief into a section of pipe, if he had dropped a Muscovaka trader into a boiling pool of geothermal water. No matter how many times Katherine had asked, Tiffany's response was always the same. People thinking he's like that is good for business. A 12-foot, bright red prop starship, 3 tail fins and a long pointy nose cone, slowly rose from the stage floor. Her father smiled and giggled. Katherine whispered to him, "I spoke to Ken," and the giggling died away faster than rations could be eaten. "I know you're forcing him," she said, keeping her voice low, "but you can send me. I'm volunteering." On the stage, the first Subsolimer struggled to get the door to the starship open. Between attempts, he would look at the crowd and ask, "It still ain't working. Any ideas?" And the crowd would shout back, "Pull harder!" "Why would you do something like that, Kathy?" His breath reeked of gin. "Why?" she shouted, turning a few heads in the crowd below. Quieting herself, she added, "Because I didn't have a choice." The first Subsolimer had finally flung the prop starship door open. The crowd cheered. Einar clapped away. But, standing in the doorway, already inside the starship, was an army general. She wore a ceremonial blue dress uniform, a peaked cap, gold frilly epaulets, a blue tunic. silver badges dangling over her heart. Skirt and tights and shoes no Subsolum would ever get the chance to wear. Real leather polished to the point of reflection. "What the devil are you doing?" she said to the first Subsolum. "There's no room for you in here." "Katherine, I won't have this conversation again," her father whispered. "I've told you, it's too dangerous. Wu is not going up there to learn hydroponics. He's going up there to... To what?" Katherine whispered furiously. "It's better for you not to know, Kathy. Please, can't you trust me? Watch the show. Trust him. He wants me to trust him." "It cuts both ways, Dad." She thought about getting up, leaving, but she was trapped. To leave now would only cause a scene. She glared uncomprehendingly at the play. The army general went back inside her starship, yelled, "One moment," then returned, jangling some keys. "What are those?" the first Subsolum said. "These?" the general said, and motioned at the crowd. "Yes, those," the first said. "These?" the general said, jangling the keys even harder. The crowd, Einar and her father, all yelled, "Yes, those!" Katherine whispered to her father, "The pipe workers have approached me. They want my hydroponics setup. They believe in it." "Helvetti, Katherine, you fool!" Einar looked over and said, "The both of you must shut it." On the stage, the army general, from her starship, said, "These are the keys to your future," and she chucked them at the first Subsolum. He looked down at them, confused. "But what do they unlock?" he called up to the army general. She swept her hand down, and a great quilt fell from the rafters. The first stared at the quilt, oohed and ahed along with the crowd. Stitched into it was a depiction of the first tunnel boring machine used to burrow into the mountain. "That's what you'll need to do. Burrow and wait." The general closed up the starship, and bright flames started to ignite at the thruster. Katherine leant over to her father and said, "And I'm tempted to go along with them." As the starship rocketed off, pulled up by wires, so did her father. He threw his empty gin glass onto the floor, stood up from his seat, and stormed from the box. Katherine met Einar's eyes, but she wasn't sure what she saw there. Oh wow, that's the end of the chapter. Woo, we did it. Sorry about the interruption. I'm sure it came out right in the edit. So yeah, that was Established Thrones. That's the first chapter in the Subsolum sequence. And then next up, we've got He's Behind You, which is another chapter in the Subsolum sequences. So yeah, I hope that was fun. I am trying to get a little bit better at this. Trying to be... I think I noticed I was a bit quick. I kind of was hurrying through in the other videos. So hopefully this one's a bit cleaner, a bit slower. But yeah, if you're enjoying this, please, do drop a comment or a like or whatever. Like I'll take these off now. In all sincerity, like it really would mean the world. I don't know, it's fun to feel like you're giving someone something that they enjoy. That's all I've ever really wanted to do. Is just kind of tell stories and Eddie. And make people laugh and feel happy and all that jazz. So yeah, if you've enjoyed this, let us know. And yeah, I will endeavour to kind of crack on with the next chapter and do some more. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm having fun. It's fun revisiting the book, as I said before. And I'm so bloody self-indulgent that reading my own novel, performing it on camera, editing it up myself, all of that. And I don't know, it's fun for me just to do this. And it's funny actually because I've got my new novels coming out pretty soon, and I've just been rereading this after having had the edits come back from my editor for my other book. I can really see the difference in my prose now, and yeah, it's kind of getting me a bit excited knowing that even between this book and my next one, like there's a massive jump in my technical ability. So I really hope that I can continue to make those sorts of jumps, and I think this process for me, even just reading the book out, is really helpful, because it just kind of gives me another way of like experiencing the work and like knowing what works and what doesn't quite work and those sorts of things. And as the medium of novel writing, I think some books lend themselves to the audio versions more than others. So yeah, it's interesting how that influences your decisions when you're actually writing, because you think, well, on the page I know this would track really nicely, but as an audio performance, oh, actually this is a bit more confusing. And I'm not someone that I don't really listen to audiobooks, and it's something that I've stepped into a bit more recently. Like, a lot of people have been talking about Project Hail Mary, and as an audiobook, it's one of those fantastic experiences. Apparently I've not listened to it yet, but I read it and I really enjoyed reading it. But then you realize, oh yeah, there's lots going on there with audio, in the text. So I imagine as an audiobook it's really good. And apparently the person that performed it is, really, really good, and is a renowned narrator. So yeah, I am kind of wondering a bit about that whole process and things like that. But then for me, the reason I'm able to do what I'm doing now is because I can kind of just do this in one take. I'm not trying to produce like a fully hyper produced audiobook, right? Like, I mess up, I mispronounce words. You can hear me muttering. There's cats running around. Like, what I wanted to do with this series was kind of a slightly more behind the scenes with the novelist thing, where I'm like kind of making asides and segues and all that jazz. So yeah, anyway, I guess that's enough from me. Thank you ever so much for tuning in. See you next time. I don't know what that is. Say bye, Eddie. Bye, bye. All right, let's turn us. This is enough. This is enough. Oh yeah, WACOOH. It's the book we're reading. I don't know. I keep saying that. Cheers, guys.